Well, it's 2011, and I'm still running Windows XP Home Edition on my netbook. My desktop runs Windows 7 Home Premium 64-bit, which I really like. XP, however, it's old. It works, don't get me wrong, it works great, but it's old. So I figure, well, maybe on the netbook I'll consider going to a Linux this year, maybe. Because I don't feel like spending $100 for a netbook I spent $300 on, because that would be like a third of the price just to put a new operating system on it, and I don't feel like doing that. So I'm checking out Xubuntu, excuse me, because it's light, it runs on netbooks easily. Not that Ubuntu doesn't, but it's kind of heavy and it's meant for desktop use. And I tried Ubuntu Netbook Remix and hated it. So this is Xubuntu. Now, before continuing, I'm going to say this is a heavily modified Xubuntu interface. This is absolutely not stock. And I'll show you what I did with it and why I'm considering switching over as soon as it loads up. This is a virtual session, by the way, which is why it's a bit slow when it initially loads the desktop and all my other stuff. So anyway, this is it. Now the standard Xubuntu interface with XFCE has two panels. I switched that to one because, well, I see two panels as wasted space, so it's better to have it as just a single panel. I also made the panels smaller, and I changed things like the icon set and the fonts. The font I'm using, by the way, is literally called Ubuntu. It comes preloaded with it. And I'm using the monochrome fonts, which work out nicely. So I was checking out how to do things, and the first thing that I liked is that the settings manager for XFCE is great. It's easy to get to stuff. Actually, before I show that, let me go back to places one more time. I like the fact that I can randomly get rid of the sidebar. I can switch to a tree style view just with keystrokes. It's all available from the view menu. That's where it shows the keystrokes and whatnot. I like the fact that I can just switch, make my icons huge or tiny or just really quickly. It's just nice to have. Switch back to shortcut view. I purposely took all the icons off the desktop because I can get to everything from the file manager anyway. So my home folder, trash, desktop, file system, if I had any USB devices plugged in, they would show up here too. So I really didn't see a need to put them on the desktop. If I did, I believe it's under desktop settings, menus, icon, yeah. Okay, if I have a removable device like USB, yeah, it'll show up. But if I want home, file system, and trash, I had them in the middle there. I was thinking of keeping them here, just, I don't know, for look's sake or whatever, but I said, nah, there's really no reason to have them there. So I went and I got rid of all of them. And that was that. And then I have just a blank desktop with a little wallpaper thing, and that's that. The bottom panel used to have, like for example, when you launch an application, you see it show up here between the two. They used to be on the bottom. The show desktop, I never use the show desktop icon. I move the workspace switcher, like if I switch to workspace 2, which is Control Alt left, Control Alt right, or just clicking this. Like for example, if I had something here in workspace 2, like the file system, and I go back here, here's the original, and here's workspace 2. I've never seen a need to have more than two workspaces, so that works out okay. Anyway, in the settings manager, I like the fact that I could customize this really easily. In appearance, I changed it to the industrial style. High contrast inverse is, these are the fonts that you see here. And the font, like I said, is Ubuntu. That's what it looks like. It's normally just sans. I don't even know what the default, I think it's Deja Vu Sans, which is the default sans font, but anyway, I switched that over to Ubuntu. And in this used to say applications. I changed that to just say menu, and there's places, and the panel used to be this size, 24. I changed that to 20. I tried it at 16, but that was a bit too tiny, so went to 20. Remember, I'm going to be putting this on a netbook, thinking about it anyway, so I need to get this screen space and need to maximize screen space where I can. Also, on top of here, this I thinned out. This is in the work window manager. Yeah, I thinned out the theme up here by choosing, which one did I go with? Wallis is what it is, W-A-L-L-I-S, and the only thing I took out was the window shade button. That used to be like this. You'll see, so you can shade windows like that. I never used that feature, so I took it out. It's little things like this, by the way, that make Linux so cool. That you can customize to this level. It's not easy to do this in Mac OS X. Obviously not easy to do it in Windows either. But anyway, so oh yeah, also I put in the Chromium browser, which was Chromium. I think this is 8. Yep, it's Chromium 8. That I did from the Ubuntu Software Center, which for some reason is slow to load. Ubuntu Software Center has never been quick to load for whatever reason. So anyway, I just went here and searched for Chrome, and it's already installed, but it's Chromium web browser. I said, okay, great. So I have my Chromium web browser in here, and actually there's something I haven't tested yet. I believe it will automatic. I know that the Firefox browser loaded in already has Flash installed, which is a huge plus because Flash used to be such a pain to configure in a Linux environment. Now it's just built in, and I believe this Chrome browser has it baked in as well. As soon as it decides to load here, if I see the thumbnail, I should be in good shape. It's my first time trying this. Oh, there it goes, and hit the play button. Will it work? And so it does. Fantastic. Anyway, yeah, this is a potential replacement for XP on my netbook, Xubuntu, and so far I'm really happy with it. I haven't found a keystroke launcher yet. The keystroke launcher that I use in Windows, well, in Windows 7 I don't use any because it has one built into the start menu. In XP I use Launchy, which puts it in the middle of the screen, and I believe Linux has one called Beagle, which I don't know. Actually, as a matter of fact, it'd be a good time to find out, wouldn't it? Which is a fairly decent, not great, but fairly decent keystroke launcher. Let's try this. Beagle. They still have it. No. Oh, it's not here. Drat. Well, one second. Keystroke. Let's try that. Oh. Well, maybe there's something else here I can use. I know there are keystroke launchers for Linux. I just haven't installed one in quite a long time. Anyway, so yeah, this is Xubuntu, and I might as well show Firefox while I'm doing this. Again, this is slow because it's in a virtual session. If this was actually on my netbook, it'd be much faster. There's PCMech, and we'll do PCMech here as well. Still amazes me how fast Chrome is. So anyway, there is Firefox 3613, and there is PCMech on Chromium 8. I'm going to actually see if I can bump this up to Chromium 10, because as you know, Chromium build, from a few videos ago that I did, I can go parent directory, Linux, and it's right here, latest build 71143. I don't know if I can run this out of the box or if I will have to compile it. This is zip, so I don't know if it's the same. See, Windows it's easy because it has an installer, but in Linux, well, not so easy. Or maybe it is. I don't know. I'll have to check that out later. But anyway, that's it. Xubuntu in a nutshell. was able to customize it exactly the way I wanted. Still have to find a keystroke launcher, but I think that shouldn't be a problem. And I might be switching to Linux, at least on my netbook, in 2011.